So, the subject of today's class being Nigeria, we wanted to discuss of a social movement that we can relate to that is happening there. The said social movement is called #Endsars or just Endsars. It is about police brutality, and we're gonna present it to you. First off, we're gonna describe it to you, describe what it is, and then we're gonna describe how it happened, the important dates and events, and at the end I will answer the question, did this movement work? Was #Endsars a success or not?
First of all, I will clarify what is SARS. SARS meaning the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, and it was a branch of the Nigerian police under the state's Criminal Investigation and Intelligence Department, the SCIID. The police department was founded in 1992. The squad was created as a faceless police unit that conducts undercover operation against crimes associated with armed robbery, car snatching, kidnapping, cattle rustling, and gun crimes. And Special Anti-Robbery Squad, or the #Endsars, is a social movement in Nigeria that started on Twitter to call for the banning of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad. It is a call to end police oppression and brutality. The protests began as a campaign on social media to call on the Nigeria government to abandon and end the deployment of the Nigerian Police Special Squad. In one weekend from October 9 to 11, 2020, the #Endsars registered up to 28 million tweets. Nigerians share both stories and video evidence of all SARS members engaged in kidnapping, murder, robbery, rape, torture, illegal arrest, authoritarianism, emulation, illegal detention, extrajudicial killings, and extortion. The context: SARS has reportedly been accused of several acts of human rights violation, illegal stop and search, illegal arrest and detention, extrajudicial killings, sexual harassment of women, and brutalization of many Nigerian youth. SARS human rights violations are visible in videos trending on social media. In 2017, Segun Awosanya actively took up the #Endsars campaign on social media alongside other activists, and it later led to advocacy and demonstration in a call to end police brutality and end the infamous police unit. According to Amnesty International 2016 reports, SARS is addicted and responsible for human abuse, cruelty, degrading treatment of Nigerians in the custody, and other widespread torture. Some of SARS human rights abuses include shooting their detainees in the leg, mock or threatened execution, hanging, and severe beatings. A 2020 publication by the organization states that between January 2017 and May 2020, they documented 82 cases of abuse and extrajudicial killing by SARS.
The first protest began in 2016. Amnesty International accused the SARS officials of regularly detaining young male Nigerians illegally and extorting money from their relatives. Also in 2016, a human rights activist, Segun Awonsanya, started an SARS campaign on Twitter, prompting police authority to announce reform of the police unit, but unfortunately, nothing was achieved at the time. In 2018, Nigerian rapper Michael Stephens joined the campaign to end police brutality by releasing a single titled "Is Police Your Friend?". In 2017, a petition signed by 10,000 people was submitted to Nigerian National Assembly calling for a total disbandment of SARS. A few senators backed the call for a total disbandment of the unit. The campaigners moved from social media using the Endsars hashtag to organize peaceful protests in Lagos, Warri, Kaduna, Calabar and other Nigerian cities and states, threatening to continue if the government refused to disband the force. Not only were the campaigners in Nigeria utilizing the hashtag and having protests, but they were also done in London and some parts of America, recognizing the situation as a global event. In response to the campaign, Nigeria Police Force Public Relations Officer Jimoh Moshood accused the campaigners of being criminals. Despite this, Inspector General of Nigeria Police Force Ibrahim Idris ordered the reform and reorganization of SARS. The second wave started in October 2020. On October 3, 2020, a video showing a SARS police officer shooting a young Nigerian in front of a Wetland Hotel in Ughelli trended on the internet. It was alleged that the police officer took away the young man's vehicle, a Lexus SUV. The trending video caused public outcry on social media, especially on Twitter, with the Endsars hashtag trending. Just as the Endsars trend began on Twitter on October 5, 2020, another report surfaced of SARS officer killing a 20-year-old upcoming musician named Daniel Chibuik. Daniel was said to be sitting in front of a hotel with a friend when the SARS officer approached them, prompting them to flee. According to an eyewitness, the SARS man pursued the pair, shouting "thief" before shooting David as they ran through a supermarket. His friend was arrested, but David was killed. On October 8, 2020, nationwide protests on Endsars started after a week of outrage and anger with videos and pictures showing police brutality, harassment and extortion in Nigeria. The protests were led predominantly by young Nigerians in different cities alongside many activists and celebrities. Nigeria police force disrupted the protest in some cities, throwing tear gas, using water cannons, and shooting at unarmed peaceful protesters as seen in Abuja and Osun. By October 14, 2020, the Endsars protests were still ongoing, with young people in different parts of Nigeria intensifying their call for reforms and accountability in police operations. On October 11, 2020, the protesters made a list of 5 demands to be met by the federal government of Nigeria. The demands, which were signed by a Nigerian youth, demanded for the immediate release of all arrested during the protest, as well as justice and compensation for all who died through police brutality in Nigeria. They also demanded that an independent body be set up within 10 days to investigate and prosecute all reports of police misconduct. The protester also asked for the psychological evaluation and retraining of SARS operatives before they are deployed to any other police unit. Lastly, they asked for adequate increase in the salaries for officers of Nigerian police.
In October 2020, the movement grew up again after more police abuses. Many mass protests started in Nigeria cities, followed by people outrage that had been expressed in different social media platforms. About 28 million tweets with the hashtag Endsars had been recorded in Twitter alone. Many other cities and population in the world supported this movement. Since 2020, the movement expanded. The movement demanded better government with more responsibility. After a few days that the first demonstrations started on the 11th of October 2020, the Nigerian police force stated that it was dissolving the movement with an immediate effect. This statement has been received as a triumph for the demonstration. The Nigerian government brutally repressed the demonstrators and even killed them in some cases. In response to the public outrage on police brutality, the Inspector General of the Nigerian Police banned the SARS and other tactical units. Similar bans had been announced before and over the year, causing citizens of Nigeria to question wherever the bans really work. As this was the fourth time that the Nigerian government had announced a similar ban on SARS activity, protesters really wanted to have the entirety of the police unit disabled, followed by a reform of the new police force. Another response of the government is the decision to freeze protesters' bank accounts. In fact, in the 20th of October 2020, the Central Bank of Nigeria and its governor, Godwin Emefiele, obtained the permission to freeze the accounts of the participants in the Endsars protests. After this episode happened, an exclusive report of the People's Gazette showed that the Nigerian Central Bank wasn't able to justify the freezing order of the bank accounts. The most important dates linked to this movement are the 8th of October, when the Endsars protesters slept in front of the Lagos State Governor's house. Another important date is the 9th of October 2020, when the Deputy Governor of Lagos State, Femi Hamzat, addressed the protesters and the police officers to not commit violent acts. He stated that he will take decisions to stop the police brutality. In the 10th of October, the police was repressing the protesters by gas and water, but many episodes of police brutality occurred, and many protesters had been shot and killed. One of the most important dates are the 20th of October, when some persons that worked with the Lagos State Governor and the Lekki Concession Company removed cameras from the city. Also, the city's lights were turned off, and a few hours later there were a report that the Nigerian army arrived in the scene of the protesters and opened fire on the peaceful and unarmed protesters. This episode ended with a large amount of deaths. After this episode of violence, many other episodes such as this one occurred.
The first
After the year 2020 and the second wave, the protest still goes on, and the last peak of demonstration is as early as February of this year. So the tollgate in Lekki reopened, and this triggered many protests and a wave of violent demonstrations, which is also followed by, the usual response by the police, right? And so, as of right now, which is April 2021, the whole count of death of these protests, of this movement, goes as follows: 57 civilians killed, 7 soldiers, and 11 policemen. Also, it is fair to say that there were many more injured. So, these protests follow. Firstly, we can see that these protests follow the schemes of other famous protests against police brutality, like the George Floyd protest in the USA, or the Hong Kong prison and police reforms. And after what my comrade said, it is easy to think that it is easy to see that results have yet to be seen, right? Since things have been said, decided, and even units have been disbanded, but the condition in Nigeria regarding police brutality doesn't seem to change that much, since demonstrations still go on. But this doesn't mean that the movement, that the social movement Endsars has failed. Actually, it already has a great impact on the country of Nigeria and even in the world, since there have been not only protests regarding this movement in the world, but also other protests similar to this one, like the former I said before. And also, it is fair to note that this movement has not ended yet. It still goes on. The last peak was on February, which is 2 months ago, 1 month ago. So protest still goes on to this day. Impact has already been seen on society, and it is fair to assume that there will be more and more impact as the year come by. It is also fair to assume that the crisis will have an impact on this. You might be thinking of the pandemic, but I am broadly talking about the economic consequences of the pandemic, and I'm not even mentioning geopolitical and political decisions like the oil price war between Saudi Arabia and Russia, which had a great impact on Nigerian currency. So, all in all, this movement did not fail. This movement was kind of a success, though the evolution is really slow. It has been going on since 2016 and is still going on today in 2021. Thanks for listening.